This is why I think everybody should be preparing and stockpiling and making sure they're aware of what's going on. Today we're going to talk about two things that Trump administration just announced. Honestly, as a conservative, I'm not really pleased with them. Now, I'm not as far as going crazy as my libertarian friends, but to be honest with you, they're both going to be a slippery slope. I made the comment yesterday on Twitter that it literally is a slippery slope of what Trump is doing with these few announcements that he did yesterday. We're going to discuss what Trump said because it is important, and this is why we should pay attention, because the next guy may not be on our side, and that could be a problem. We'll talk about it. Also, we're going to talk about the flesh-eating screwworm. It actually is now making appearances here in America, and guess what? It's doing what it was doing to the cattle. Now it's doing to humans. Humans are now getting hospitalized. The first case just hit our shores. And why this is important, because again, this is a war on our meat, but also more than that, a war on the American populace. We have to pay attention to this. At the same time, there's a monster recall of meats in stores. This proves to the fact of stockpiling, prepping, having local forms of food, because what we realize is sometimes when things are trucked over, sometimes when things are packaged, sometimes when things are moved all over the country, it shows that it may not be the best and healthiest. We'll discuss that story. And then lastly, we're going to talk a little bit more about this. There were some things that's come out, announcements come out about Pfizer. We're going to discuss it because it proves the point of how dangerous and how much chemically laced we really are as humans. Let's dive into all these stories because they're eye-openers. Hey guys, welcome to our channel. Thank you so very much for being here today. If you are new, please go down here, press subscribe, ring the bell, give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down, that's okay, but let us know what you think about the content of today's video. We appreciate you so very much. Now, let's dive into the stories of the day. First, let's talk about the Trump situation, and then we'll move on to some of the other things. And this is why I tell you to prepare and stockpile, because we're on a very slippery slope. So two things that took place yesterday with two monster announcements that I think we should be aware of. All right, Trump comes out and states that he will allow for 600,000 Chinese students into the U.S. to go to our colleges. Now, the sad thing is that you hear Ludnick and all these other players in administration, people that we would deem that we like, that is pushed against certain visas, pushed against certain illegal immigrants, pushed against those kind of things to make America first again, now is saying we want to bring in 600,000 Chinese students to get technology and smarts from our universities. Now, I don't understand how this benefits us whatsoever. You can say, well, he's playing 3D chess, 4D chess, 5D chess, 10,000 degree chess. But to be honest with you, I don't see the benefit of this all. You know how many US students went into China last year? Less than 500. That's all they allowed in. Less than 500 students were allowed to go into China last year for some kind of educational purposes in their colleges. But we're allowing for 600,000. Talk about trade negotiations. I don't think that that's the smartest idea, because what we're doing now is allowing for, remember this, the only way the Chinese people can get into our country is that we allow them, but first, before that, they have to get a passport from their leadership. Don't you think there's been some heavy conversations of saying, well, if you're going over to America, there's a little bit of a kickback I need. What can you do for me? Instead of just adding to your education. I don't know why this is a big deal, and I don't know why we should be allowing this to take place. This is a non-starter for me. I think this opens the door for any other country to send their kids just because they give us a little money, or just because we try to negotiate. I don't think this is a good plan. At the same time, I'm trying to tell you to get, the Islamic faith out of America. Well, I don't think that people who believe in the Chinese way is actually smart for America either. What are we doing? So that was the first thing I think that is very, very bad, that we're allowing for 600,000 Chinese students to come into our universities. Well, who are the universities going to kowtow to? You know the biggest supporters of universities were last year? This is probably the biggest problem. China. The biggest endowment pusher and giver of money to the Ivy League schools such as Harvard was China. So I love when people are like, oh, Israel. Actually, it's China. And so is this why we're seeing 600,000 Chinese coming over here and we're allowing it? Trump says he's happy with it. I don't agree with this. Now, another thing that really caused a major stink, and I'll be honest with you, I'm a little on the fence on this one, but I want your opinion. I want every one of you to comment. All 30, 40, 50,000 people that watch this video, I want you to comment below telling me your thoughts on this, because I'll be honest with you, I'm a little in a tough spot, because as a conservative, freedom-minded individual who loves America, and a libertarian at the same time, I have a very mixed emotion. I'm on the fence. I'm in a gray area here. So Trump comes out and states that anyone who burns the flag will be thrown in jail for a year. They'll be, persecuted against. Now, this is what a lot of other countries do, like China, like North Korea, like a lot of the Middle Eastern countries. So do I want people to have pride in America? Yes. Do I think it's wrong to burn the flag? Absolutely yes. I think it's a spit in the face of what freedom truly means. At the same time, here's the problem, and again, I'm not saying I'm this way or not, I'm just saying if we say that we have unalienable freedoms, then under certain statutes, that would be a freedom for someone to burn the flag. Now let me go back and state this for the record. That doesn't mean we don't burn down buildings and burn down capitals and burn down people and hurt people. That's not freedom. That is destruction. But what about the flag? Now, I want to give you the pro and con of this, and this is where I want to really camp out here. Do I think it's wrong, and do I believe it should be punished? On the fact of Trump leading and the fact that I'm America First Christian that wants to see justice but also freedom, it doesn't bother me. It really doesn't. I'm like, yeah, throw them in there. They shouldn't be burning anyway, because most of them are probably bad people anyway. Most of them are anarchists. Most of them are probably doing things that they shouldn't be doing anyway. But the slippery slope. What's to say? Let's just pan this out now. What's to say that Gavin Newsom or AOC becomes president in 2028, 2020, 2032? It can happen. We've seen Obama and Biden win through some crazy circumstances, but they won. What's to say they say, well, we're going to see that if you burn any flag, it's wrong. Oh, well, no, if you have the freedom to burn the American flag, you can burn the Christian flag. No, if you have the freedom to burn the American flag, or we don't have the freedom to burn the American flag, well, what about the Bible? What if all of a sudden we say, well, no, the Muslims and Islamists, you can't burn their flag? Did you know in the UK right now, this same policy went in where they couldn't burn the flag. Now, all of a sudden you can burn the Britain flag, but you can't burn the rainbow flag, or you can't burn anything dealing with the Islamic faith. How that policy is turned. Now they want to let you into some of the restaurants because you're wearing a UK flag, but if you decline someone wearing a rainbow flag or Islamic faith flag or a Hamas flag or a Palestinian flag, they'll let you in. So what I'm saying is, what we see happening right now in the UK, they had this same slippery slope where they thought it was a good policy, but when bad leaders got in, they used it for their benefit and not the benefit of quote-unquote freedom. What's to say that the government doesn't put in a policy that you as a Christian conservative does not like, but you don't have the freedom of the First Amendment because they use the precedent of saying, well, there are certain ways that we can manipulate that because look, Trump took the flag away, burning, so we're going to take your rights of doing this away. Don't think it won't happen. That means if you start messing with the First Amendment, it's kind of like messing with the Second Amendment, which they've already done in a lot of states. You start taking parts of it that you like and leaving parts that you don't. Or you start banning certain things. Hillary Clinton has already come out and said that we should be taking down the rhetoric on social medias, and that should be banned. The government should be able to step in, and that's not true freedom of speech. That's hate. Ooh, there's where the line is. What is freedom of speech? What is hate speech? Now, again, Trump's in leadership. So for us right now, it might be great. We don't get flag burnings. Well, that's awesome, because the people burning the flags are the anarchists and the liberals and the crazy ones that are cussing every other word that's got blue hair. However, what if all of a sudden Gavin Newsom gets in 2028 and says, well, the pride flag is the same as the American flag, and if you burn it, that's a hate crime. That's not freedom. 1 year in jail. It can happen. The slippery slope that Trump is setting up now, it scares me. The putting the troops in the cities need it. Actually, most of the people on the street want protection, but it should not come from the federal government. It should come from the city government and also the state government. But remember, they don't want cleanliness. They don't want peace, because when peace happens, people have prosperity and freedoms and independence. The cities and the states need the dependency of the people, so therefore the chaos actually benefits them. So when Trump is saying we're going to heal all that, yeah, the people want that. However, what we're doing is setting up a dangerous precedent that I do believe that could come back and haunt us. Now, I just said a lot. Do I believe in what Trump is doing? I think all these things are good on its face. But I do believe every one of these could be precedent-setting slippery soaps for the Democrats and for the elite to use against its American people. Now, I want your opinion. There's usually 30 to 50,000 people watch this video. Please comment below. Tell me your thoughts on that. Now, before we go any further, a word from today's sponsor. We talk about Chapter all the time, but I don't think you understand the benefit of Chapter, especially if you're 65 and older or about to be. This is a game changer for you. What about saving money? When we talk about Medicare, we talk about supplement policies. We talk about Part A's and D's and all these letters that no one even understands. I didn't realize how big and how confusing all this can be. And then everybody tells you something, and most of the time they're trying to make money off of you or trying to sell you a certain policy or have an opinion of what they did. All that may be okay. But what Chapter does is they come alongside you and they advise you. They work for you for $0 for free. They work and help you find the best plans that can benefit you. They're not paid by you. You don't have to worry about paying them, but they do save the average American $1,100. So in a time where money's tight, in a time where you don't understand every little thing and you feel like everybody's taking advantage of you, please call Chapter. Let them walk you through the best plans for you when it comes to Medicare and the supplements. If you have the best plan, they'll tell you. But ultimately, every aspect of that 15 or 20-minute phone call that you have with them will save you money and will help you find the best plan. So that way it gives you a peace of mind to know that you will be protected and also that your health care is okay. Check with Chapter. There's a number below. There's also a link in the description. I promise you, it will benefit you, and it costs you nothing. I've seen what it's done. I've had 3 or 4 emails just in the last week telling us how beneficial they've been, from saving $400, $800, $1,500, $1,200. Let them help you too. Check with Chapter. Now let's talk about this again. You know, I've been kind of hitting on this the last few days, and I know that sometimes overlords don't like this, but I want you to listen to this that just came out. It said there's someone that was interviewed and they kept their identity quiet. It says they had 4 of these. The main RNA, have to be very careful when I say that, the main inject, and then they had the 3 boosters. That same person said they developed cancer. It said when they were biopsied, the colon cancer research showed that the sequences that Pfizer used was found in the makeup of the cancer. We used all the tools called PCR to look for the Pfizer-Vax sequence. Shockingly, it was there. Now, does that mean every person that got these is going to develop some kind of, C word, big C word? Not necessarily. But what we have seen is we've become the guinea pigs. And sometimes when we hear these kind of stories, they make us fear. And then I had an individual just yesterday, who stated that COVID's kind of going around in our area. People are getting sick. There was a lady that came to our house and was picking up something that they were buying from Misty. And their words were, well, I don't have to worry about it because I've got all mine taken care of, all the boosters, everything I needed. So I'm safe. Still to this day, she is indoctrinated to think that she is okay because she got those. And all she was worried about was something that had a less than 1% chance of actually causing harm, which was the 2020 pandemic. However, what we've realized is, if you go back to my video just a few days ago, I said it was maybe too late. Go back and watch that video. That over 50 to 75% of people that took these with the boosters developed some kind of debilitating, long-standing, or some kind of sickness or cancer. Through all the studies done, 50 to 75% of all the people that got those had some kind of problem. Now, to her, she was still on the mindset thinking that she was safe from the one thing that had a less than 1% of chance of harming you. So it shows how amazed I get when I still hear that people can be so manipulated by what people tell us. For instance, I have a doctor friend, and their words to me were this. Instead of teaching health and wellness, he said, I went to school and I learned how to give people medicine. Now, he was not mad about that. He was just saying what he learned. And he has made a lot of money doing it. But his words were, we didn't tell people how to actually get health and wellness back to make their bodies better naturally. we found the ways to medicinally heal them. This same guy, I kid you not, a doctor, is a smoker, a little overweight, pudgy, so he's probably not living a life health situation. But he's doing exactly what he learned in school. Instead of being a doctor to help your health get better, he wants to kind of masquerade, put a mask on the truth by giving you medicines to mask the pain. Did you know that when we have headaches and we take Tylenol, it does make the headache go away? No, it actually doesn't. It masks the pain of the headache there. And so what I'm scared of is when we hear these kind of stories, and now we see that 50 to 75% of individuals that took these things are feeling some kind of life-altering situation. What scares me is that we still have brought no one to justice over it. We still are okay with being the guinea pigs. So what about the next one? It's proof in the pudding. If our DOJ doesn't get Fauci, if our DOJ doesn't get Birx, or if our DOJ doesn't get any of these big players, these big pharma companies, if nothing ever happens, then we learned nothing from being the guinea pigs, did we? Now, there's a new story that just come out, and there's two things that has taken place, and we still have not learned enough to figure out what is right and what is wrong. Listen to this. This is from Health Freedom Defense Fund. It says, Big Pharma just accidentally proved that that some of these do cause autism. You know the autism numbers are out at the roof of children right now. It says, this is no joke, the biggest bombshell of the year. The media called this new study, 1.4 million kids, definitive proof that there was no link between this and autism. It says in the medical journal, what actually happens where they were trying to say that even though the autism rate is up 200% in children, that they know that childhood these were not causing the problems. Guess what? RFK came out yesterday and said, what we've realized is the aluminum inside these versions that we give children are considered a neurotoxin. And it shows that the spread of this information was construed. It said that they are extremely neurotoxic, and I think what we're going to realize, it is leading to biological functions that could cause problems for people. The most abundant neurotoxic metal on earth is aluminum, and we're injecting it into our children. And he says, what we've realized is this is the exact reason that we're starting to see the health problems in children, down to autism. Now, there's two very big reasons right there. While I'm not saying you can't trust the doctors and the people who go to school, but it is a reason to say, you know what, we better make sure that we have a good basis of what we're fixing to put in our body. I'm sick of being the guinea pigs, and I sure am not going to allow my children to be that, or my spouse. The most important people in my life, the last thing I want to do is say, well, look, I'm going to not take responsibility, and I'm going to let the government and all this big pharma and all these people who are going to continue making money off me just inject this in my children. What about the animals? You know, all the problems we've had with animals, most of the time it's been caused because humans' interaction thinking they know better than what God did with regenerative agriculture and animals. Prime example, there's two new stories that just come out. Massive contaminants found in meat, doing a massive recall. Listen to this. Company recalls 32,000 pounds of meat production worldwide because the meat is not inspected correctly. Now, I don't know about you, and this was based in New Jersey, but what I've realized is, you know this, you think about this now. If someone is not making a lot of money, and you go to them at a restaurant, if you go to them in a shopping wash, in a shopping mall, if you go to them in a grocery store, they're not going to give you probably the best service, don't you think? Okay, so now let's do this in the grand scheme of things. Your food that you buy at the grocery store has went through grocery, has went through distribution, 18-wheelers, has went through someone packaging, who has also went through a butchered farm or a slaughterhouse of some sort that's probably underpaying their staff, along with people on the farm who are probably illegal that's actually helping the farmer through green card visas. You've got 10 to 15 steps before it actually gets to you. First, people like me who raise their own cattle, raise their own hogs, raise their own chicken, and keep it on farm. Now, why do I say that? It's this. It's just like the last story. We're trusting those 8 or 9 or 10 different people who are all making money off me to give me the best quality meat. Do you actually think that you're going to get the best quality meat? Are we supposed to not take responsibility, love convenience, and allow these 8 or 9 different businesses, distributions, grocery stores, slaughterhouses, the farmer itself, everybody who wants to make money on this situation, wants to make as much profit as they can, along with the medicines that they're injecting into these animals, along with every aspect of this, do you honestly think they're looking out for the consumer's well-being? No, they're looking out for their bottom line. So when we hear about these recalls, what I think it should do is wake us up to not say, well, I'm worried about this one company. What you should be doing is worried about your whole grocery store, to say, how much of contaminants are we actually taking in? There's a study that came out the other day in water and food alone that we're taking in more microplastics than we ever have in history, and it's causing for more cancers, especially in men when it comes to male parts. And it's all because we're taking in microplastics, because every chain of command is trying to make money, trying to package cheaper, and trying to make sure that they can get it to the market cheaper. Not caring about the consumer themselves, but actually caring about their bottom line. So we have to fix that. It's kind of like the medicines. Do you realize that doctors are paid by pharma? So if doctors are trained by pharma, paid by pharma, why do they want to tell you to quit smoking and to get outside and exercise and try to eat a healthy diet? That doesn't benefit them. They need you dependent on them so that you can come back and they can fill you with more medicine. Do you not realize that? Why do you think the government does the certain things like taxes and regulation? Because that means you need them. Why do you think the cities want chaos? Because that means you need them. Do you see what I'm saying here? Now let's go to the last story, because this is going to bring up another 2020 situation, if not take away our meat. The screwworm has now made its appearance here in America. Now if you remember, this was the flesh-eating worry that we tried to keep out of here in Mexico. So we shut down the beef, and so all of a sudden beef skyrocketed. We shut down the market to where we wouldn't get Mexican beef in here. Now it's been confirmed that it is found in Maryland, all because of flies and mosquitoes and the dangers that CDC now says could cause for a major problem around the world. The first human case of a New World screwworm has been confirmed in America. It says health officials confirmed that Maryland resident was diagnosed with New World screwworm. Guess what? Earlier, because they were traveling to El Salvador. It has been declared that the first human case is known in the United States, and the CDC has taken control. The Maryland Department of Health confirms that there is no indication of transmission. However, we want the public to know that the risk is low, but we want to remain vigilant for our animals. Now, this is the same thing they said, remember, in 2020, when they started hearing cases in March. They didn't make a big deal out of it. Oh, it's nothing to it. I mean, Lysol can kill it. I mean, we don't have to worry about the CV-19. We don't have to worry about all that. It's over in China, no big deal. And all of a sudden, one case happened. No big deal. I mean, we can handle this. Remains public low, no issue. Then it grew. And then all of a sudden, the propaganda around it grew. Pay attention. A lot of times our government and the powers that be throw noodles on the wall, hoping one to stick. Is this it? This not only causes harm for people now, humans, it's to the food supply. That's a big deal. Because guess what? It started in cattle. So if we know it can already, if this one thing that is carrier of mosquitoes and flies, and we tried to lock out, but then all of a sudden we said it wasn't dangerous, but all of a sudden now it's on a human, then it comes to America. Now we realize it's now mutated to a point where the flesh-eating bacteria or disease or issue can come over from animals. Doesn't that sound like what happened in 2020? Just be careful. This is why I tell you to prepare. This is why I tell you to stockpile. This is why I tell you to be ready. This is why I tell you to be grounded in your faith. Because what we've realized is sometimes the powers that be, including government, colleges, doctors, our leaders in CDC, they all have initiatives and they all have plans. And those plans sometimes are absolutely not the best for us. They may seem to be on the surface, but they're slippery slopes. That's why you stockpile. That's why you prepare. And that's why you always stay vigilant. Guys, let me know your thoughts on today's video. Go check out the sponsor of today's video. Not because I'm trying to sell you. They don't want to sell you. All they want to do is help you. That's what I love, is when people want to help other individuals. Check them out. Thank you guys for watching. God bless.